So good evening. I'm Ron Mucha. I'm a principal with Morningside Group, and on behalf of our Morningside team, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present to you this evening. I'm joined by my partner, David Strasberg. Here. David is Morningside's founder and president, as well as we're joined by our consulting team members, and they will introduce themselves when they speak to you. 1140 Broadway is our working name for what most commonly referred to as the Lower Town site. It's a strategically important site property for the city of Ann Arbor due to its enormous potential, which stems from its large size and its walkable, transit-oriented location. Unfortunately, the demise of the once prosperous shopping center has been followed by blight and exacerbated groundwater contamination that is migrating to the Huron River. Both are products of a previous group's false start to develop this site nearly 10 years ago. From the onset, David and I realized that we bore a responsibility to create a redevelopment plan based upon input solicited from and responsive to the community at large, not a plan narrowly tailored to any one single group. Because, as you know, interest in this project throughout the city of Ann Arbor is widespread. We implemented a four-step approach to the site planning process. First, David and I held a series of high-level meetings with elected officials and staff to learn firsthand of their high-level vision for what they saw happening on this site, and then to discuss how to make that vision compatible with the site's extreme physical constraints. And the following primary objectives emerged. First, simplify the Rube Goldberg complexity of the failed Broadway Village, a planned unit development run amok. Second, substantially reduce the amount of tax increment financing, an amount, incidentally, that we've reduced by 74%. Three, build at a mid-rise scale at a maximum of 7 stories, but vary the building heights and articulate the facades. Fourth, keep parking out of the ground due to the soil and groundwater contamination, but also keep the parking concealed from public view. Fifth, address community values. So for environmental remediation, to do more than what the minimum is required by the MDEQ, and also incorporate elements of affordability and sustainability. And lastly, 6 was to create mixed use, but there was broad acknowledgement and agreement that for very obvious reasons, the location is challenging for new retail development. So utilizing this guidance, David and I got with our architects and we put pen to paper to draw what we believe we had just heard. That was our second step. And then as a third step, we took that preliminary site plan and we returned to the people we originally met with. And we wanted to say, okay, this is what you said and this is what was done, this is what we drew, and does the vision comport? So having completed those initial steps, then we commenced an ongoing step 4, which is really a broad and completely voluntary effort to network with stakeholders and residents throughout the community to review the site plan concept. And like I mentioned, this is ongoing. Beyond the citizens' participation meeting, that was the one required meeting, which drew about 80 people in February, David and I have conducted well in excess of 100 meetings in kitchens and living rooms and restaurants and coffee shops. These meetings produced many refinements and enhancements to the site plan. It is important to make clear that we did not utilize the typical developer approach to site planning, where a developer crafts its plan in a vacuum, behind closed doors, inflates the height and density, and then attempts to sell to the community as if it's your vision. The objective of this sort of self-serving strategy is to eventually negotiate a one-sided compromise whereby the project is reduced in scope and scale just to reflect the developer's needs all along. As outlined in our 4-step approach, our plan reflects the community's vision. Consequently, we did not add spare height and density to the project. This is the same straightforward, no-nonsense approach that we very successfully implemented at Liberty Lofts. In closing, it is time to end the blight, to remediate the groundwater contamination, and to invigorate Lower Town. For the betterment of all of Ann Arbor, change at 1140 Broadway is necessary and long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you.